My name is Kevin. I am proud and excited to say that I've recently been accepted onto the SET training program in cardiothoracic surgery. Hi, I got one of those emails the other day on a Sunday that's one of those real pick you up emails, like a feedback email from one of the clients that I'm working with in the job challenge process. And I thought I'd read it to you because whilst it's a fairly long email, it actually highlights a number of key points, things that I think are important to note about the coaching process in general, as well as the process of getting yourself best prepared for the job application and interview process and putting your best foot forward. So it's from Kevin to me. Hi Anthony. Hi Kevin. So sorry for the long delay in getting back to you. Doctors are always late. That's okay. I wrote quite a long and rambling testimonial. I suspect you won't want to use the whole thing, as I've repeated myself a few times. You guessed wrong. Might be just best to grab some quotes from here or there. If you wanted me to write something more succinct, just let me know. I'm happy for you to use any of this on anything on your website or promo material, and you can use my name as well, so thank you. I have a few people who need to sit some interviews in the next year, and I've already recommended you, so thanks again for that. Let me know if you want contact details. Interviews will be around early June again next year, so I don't imagine things will start till the new year, which is okay. Giving yourself about 6 months is plenty of time to get prepared. And again, thanks so much for your coaching. I have no doubt it's what gave me the edge. Kind regards, Kevin. So thank you, Kevin, for this email. And that's the preamble, but let me just read you through the rest of the email. And it's in the form of a testimonial. I wanted to write a testimonial of gratitude and recommendation to Dr. Anthony Llewellyn of AdvanceMed. To start, my name is Kevin. I am proud and excited to say that I've already been accepted, or recently been accepted, onto the SET training program in cardiothoracic surgery. And for those who don't know, that's one of the college training programs, is probably one of the hardest subspecialty programs to get into in surgery. I applied to vascular surgery 3 times, which is also hard, and cardiothoracics twice, being successful with cardiothoracics on the second attempt. I worked very hard and did as much as I could with competitive CV scores and good references, which is what you need for applying for RACs, and all the applications, but my real downfall was the interview. I found this surprising, as I'm normally well liked and feel like my judgment and interpersonal relationships with patients and colleagues is one of my strong points. And so here's the first key point. Just because you communicate well in a natural environment doesn't mean that you're going to be able to translate those skills automatically into an interview. And if you think about it, we're using our clinical patients as a feedback mechanism all the time to see if we're getting our communication right. That's why you need to practice for the interviews as well. I soon found out that the interview process is a different beast, as I said, one that most people have no experience with. And I think this is true for a lot of doctors, and I've talked about this before, but it's a very vital skill, but it's only one that we use infrequently, so it's meaningless the rest of the time. That's why we don't practice it all the time, which is fair enough, but we need to build in some practice in the lead up to one. My first interview was a disaster. I'd done almost no specific preparation for it, and my mentors really gave me no practical advice other than to be myself. I got destroyed. And this is hard when you're, used to succeeding in medicine. I mean, you have to be fairly talented to get into medical school in the first place, and you're competing against some really high quality other people. So it's not actually about you being a failure or not good enough, it's just that the stakes are often quite high. For next year, I prepared hard for interviews, reading a couple of interview books, cover to cover, writing down tons of examples of things I could talk about. I did a couple of interview sessions with a coach whom I travelled overseas to meet in person. I didn't find the sessions very useful as there was a lot of negative feedback. Kevin talks a little bit about his coach a bit later on, the first one that he saw, and then he talks about my approach. And look, I think one of the things is sometimes the first coach that you meet is not the right coach for you. Some people might need some real criticism and they like that approach. Others need a bit more of a positive approach. I think as a general rule though, you're going to improve your performance if the coach is helping to point out progress. But yeah, it's often about a goodness of fit thing. I'm not claiming that I can get everyone, as fantastic as this success is for Kevin to get into cardiothoracic surgery, and I've this year managed to get some other candidates into some other hard specialties like ophthalmology or radiology, and that's great. But I never guarantee I never guarantee results. That would be disingenuous. And I think it's important that you need to build up some trust in your coach. Find out a bit about them, do your research, do a once-off call if you're not sure. Make sure there's a good fit there. So that ruined his confidence a bit. I interviewed for both cardiothoracics and vascular that year. Scores were poor despite my hundreds of hours of preparation. Admittedly, my actual time spent answering questions out loud in front of somebody else who knew what they were talking about was low. And again, this is another point. You can practice with the wrong people and get the wrong sort of feedback. I think an hour with an expert performance coach who knows about the interview process, who understands what the panel's looking for, can be quite valuable. And if they're not actually making you practice questions, either you're asking too many questions about the process and avoiding answering questions, or they're not setting this up properly, in my opinion. Which brings me to my successful interview. Again, the cardiothoracic, or both cardiothoracic and vascular interviews. Cardiothoracic being my focus, and my focus of the sessions with Anthony. I tried the previous interview coach for a few sessions, but didn't get very far and abandoned that. So that's good. Like you shouldn't. If the strategy's not working, change strategy. That's great. I googled interview coaches and found Anthony's website. It is full of useful information. It's very easy to use and professional design. I think good coaches will have a bunch of resources for you to help you when they're not there. And it's also a way of seeing whether people know what they're talking about. So if someone's comfortable enough to put a lot of content out, helpful material, they're usually pretty passionate about it, and usually it's worth then investing a bit of time with them as a coach as well. There are lots of great free information and links to Anthony's YouTube page, Career Doctor. I started by watching all of the videos that he makes about interviewing. Particularly helpful, and this is what I love, it's probably the gold in this email, was the information about the models of competency. I firmly believe understanding competency frameworks is a key to having a successful career in medicine. I quickly realised that the RAC's 9 competencies was just a slight modification of the principles he was teaching. They're not my principles, they're the CAMED's framework. Yeah, but it is. In fact, the Royal College in Canada helped the College of Surgeons in Australia develop their framework. I've been trying to organise interview practice with colleagues who were going for general surgery. It was always hard to get a time when we could all meet up. Also, when working in a group, we ended up avoiding hard questions and topics, because you don't want to make other people feel bad. It was helpful but not the most effective use of time. If we did a session of 2 hours, I probably spent about 10 to 15 minutes actually answering questions myself, because you're trying to help out someone else. Obviously, in these types of sessions, you have to listen feedback to the other people you're working, so it's not as efficient for your time as having private coaching, and that's true. The private coach is there to help you the whole time that you're paying them. Because I was aiming for vascular and cardiothoracics, I only knew one other person going for these specialties, so I could only practice with people going for other specialties. So, not practicing the right context is going to be a problem as well. Another thing I tried was getting some consultants to interview me. Again, this was hard to organise as they're all so busy. When trying this, I felt intimidated at times that these people are my boss. And I think probably in Kevin's case, they were probably feeling the passion for Kevin, and maybe themselves, maybe putting a bit too much pressure on him, because he's a genuine good bloke, and I'm so glad that he made it into cardiothoracic surgery. I didn't want to focus on my weaknesses with the consultants, as it felt it would reflect poorly on me. The consultants who did practice with me needed questions to ask me, so you have to organise them, and wanted things to be organised by me, so it was a bit time consuming. Interviewing at home with family friends was easy to organise, but was uncomfortable at times and caused a few rows. I decided to purchase the 3-session interview package as a starting point. I purchased another 2 sessions. I knew after my first session with Anthony that Anthony was the coach for me. So yeah, I'm glad that we got on well, and I do generally try to tailor my coaching to each person. I do find that confidence is one of the things that people come to me as an issue that they want to work on in the interview. Firstly, the online booking system worked well. Much easier to be able to book a time that suited me. Interviewing on Zoom was seamless. Now, So Kevin travelled, presumably to Australia, to see an interview coach. There's a lot of time involved in doing that. I actually think doing it online is better, because you get the recording and you can watch that back as well, and you're not travelling and doing it at your own time. So technology is really helping this stuff. I just sat at the table and felt like having a face-to-face session on Zoom. Anthony would mirror his desktop to me and show me his slides and information while we're chatting, so I like it because I can sort of pull up a resource like the CAMED's framework, or demonstrate how you use STAR for behavioural questions, etc., and work through processes, etc. Also look at the actual competencies for the college, which is good. This was especially useful while he was giving me feedback about the question I just answered. He recorded all the sessions and emailed them to me so I could watch them and see what I looked like answering questions. And this is the thing about deliberative practice. You've got to see your performance fairly quickly after to get the maximum benefit out of it. It's especially useful to see my face when I was not confident on an answer, or when I stumbled on questions. It also helped me realise when I said something unprofessional. So yeah, a coach can help you pick up sort of what might seem small but actually significant flaws. In the case of Kevin, he was using the word girl occasionally. That happens. He's not wanting to be disrespectful deliberately, but picking up on that with a coach is better than doing a faux pas like that in the interview. The most important thing about my interview sessions with Anthony was his coaching ability. He spent a short time outlining his simple techniques for answering questions, but mainly focused on getting me to answer questions. And I think that's the guts of it. Unlike any other person I interviewed with before, Anthony was the only person who actively built up my confidence. He realised quickly that confidence was one of my weaknesses when answering questions, and did a fantastic job of pointing out my strong points and being considerate when offering areas to improve. That's true and it's good, but the other thing you have to learn as a coach is not to overload feedback as well. Sometimes you need a few sessions to work on one or two key points. If you give the coachee too many things to work on, it's not going to help them. Just confuses. I definitely put in a lot of work preparing for the interview, but I truly believe that Anthony's coaching was the thing that gave me the edge in getting a spot on the program this year. And what I often find with the people I coach is that the mere act of them engaging me as a coach makes them do the practice, makes them, in between seeing me, keeps them accountable as well. So that's another thing that coaching can do for you. Without his motivation and the mentorship, I cannot see how work would have improved my interview skills enough to be offered a position. Another few points about AdvanceMed's interview coaching. I sought out personal coaching and recommend it because every minute is 100% on you. Every minute you spend with the coach is focused on your interview. There are no distractions. There's very little time in organising sessions. Your coach will do this for you. Feedback is personal and expert. The most effective interview preparation is practicing interview questions or answering questions out loud in front of someone. Watching yourself back is extremely useful. Positive feedback from your coach is helpful. Negative feedback delivered in a confrontational way damages your ego and makes your interview worse. And Anthony never did this. Spending a few dollars to get coaching is well worth it. 45 minutes with your coach is more than equal to several hours of group practice because the focus is on you. And this comes to my point. Having a booking with Anthony forced me to focus on prep even after a long, tiring day at work. When I was practicing with colleagues and friends, it was far easier to put things off because of other needs. In conclusion, I applied in the 2 years prior to coaching with AdvanceMed. I had good CVs and reference scores, but was let down by interviews both times. My confidence was very low when practicing before Anthony. Reading interview books and practicing with colleagues was somewhat helpful, but time-consuming. I attribute AdvanceMed interview coaching with giving me the edge to get on surgical training. I've already recommended Anthony to several other people to prepare for interviews next year. I think if I had used AdvanceMed during my first or second years, I would probably be on training already. Sign up today, get started, it's worth every cent. Kevin. So thank you very much, Kevin. And the purpose of me reading through that email is not to blow my own trumpet here in terms of my abilities as a coach. As much as I do feel confident that I can help a number of people. I've done training, I've practiced this approach, I've worked with a number of people, I understand the process. But I just would like to emphasise that this is an important juncture in life when you're going for a new job in medicine. It does require effort, preparation and practice. And a coach can really help you with keeping yourself accountable and giving you the sort of efficient feedback that you need to get what you want out of the process, which is obviously the job that you're heading for. So I hope you found that helpful, and if you liked this video, leave a like, and if this sort of generated a discussion or point for you or some sort of thing you want to comment on, leave a comment below. If you're finding more than one of my videos helpful, then maybe subscribe and turn on notifications, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.